What if I told you the secret to completely transforming your life wasn't some huge dramatic change, but something kinda boring? Well, today we're diving deep into the psychology behind how these super simple, consistent habits can quietly but totally reshape your future. Let's get right into it.
So, does this whole idea of chasing motivation sound familiar? Waiting for that lightning bolt of inspiration to strike before you start that project, or hit the gym, or finally change your diet. Look, we've all been there, right? But what if I told you that waiting for motivation is the very thing holding you back?
Yep, you heard that right. Psychology actually shows there's a much better, way more reliable path forward. And it's not about one massive, heroic effort. Nope, it's about laying down one small, consistent block at a time. It is all about consistency. So let's break down how this actually works.
Okay, first things first, we have got to bust a major myth, what I like to call the motivation myth. See, most of us think we need to feel motivated before we can act, but the science shows it's actually the complete opposite. Action, that's what creates motivation.
We tend to think of someone trying to change their life as this overwhelmed person just waiting for that spark of inspiration to hit. But the truth? The people who actually improve the most, well, their daily lives are surprisingly ordinary. Their secret isn't some chaotic, high-energy lifestyle. It's a simple, repeatable structure. They don't run on motivation. They run on habits.
So, what is actually happening inside your brain when you do this? Why are these tiny, consistent actions so incredibly powerful? Well, it all boils down to the amazing science of how your brain can literally, physically rewire itself.
And here it is. This is your brain's secret superpower, neuroplasticity. What that means is your brain isn't set in stone. It's more like a piece of clay. Every single time you repeat an action, you are physically carving a new pathway in your brain. And that makes the action easier and way more automatic the next time around.
And here's the exact mechanism for how that happens. It's called the habit loop, and it was made famous by the author Charles Duhigg. It's a simple, three-step process. First, you have a cue. Let's say your morning alarm goes off. That triggers the routine. Maybe you put on your running shoes. And that ends with a reward, that awesome feeling you get after a run. You just keep repeating that cycle, and eventually, your brain puts it on autopilot.
All right, so that's the science behind it. But enough theory, right? Let's get super practical. We're about to walk through 6 of these boring but seriously effective habits that put all of this brain science into action.
Okay, habit number 1. And honestly, it doesn't get much more boring than this. Wake up. At the same time, every single day. And yes, I mean on weekends too. So why? It's simple. Your brain absolutely loves rhythm and predictability.
See, doing this one simple thing helps regulate your body's internal clock, your circadian rhythm. And this isn't just a nice idea. Research from places like Harvard Medical School confirms that this single habit can lead to better focus, a better mood, way more energy, and even stronger emotional regulation, all from just waking up at the same time.
Now, to get our next habit, we have to talk about mental energy. And this quote from the psychologist Roy Baumeister is absolutely key. Willpower is limited. I want you to think of your willpower just like a phone battery. You wake up in the morning with a full charge, but every single decision you make throughout the day drains it, bit by bit.
And that brings us right to habit number 2. Do your one most important task first. Just get it done. By tackling it first thing in the morning, you're using your willpower when that battery is at 100%, and you're dedicating your absolute best energy to your biggest priority.
And the impact of doing this is just huge. It creates this amazing positive feedback loop for your whole day. You start your day with a win, right? That builds momentum. That, in turn, strengthens your discipline. And it seriously cuts down on stress and that feeling of being overwhelmed.
Okay, habit number 3. This one ties directly back to that brain science we were just talking about. This is where you really put neuroplasticity to work for you. Remember, the goal here isn't to do something massive just one time. It's to do something small, over and over, literally carving a new path in your brain.
And look, we're talking about really small things that are not intimidating at all, like reading just 10 pages, or exercising for only 15 minutes, or writing a single paragraph. By just repeating these tiny little actions, you are literally building the wiring in your brain that makes them feel automatic.
All right, habit number 4 might sound way too simple to be effective, but trust me, it has a massive effect. It's all based on that old saying, what gets measured gets managed.
The simple act of tracking your progress is what takes you from just being aware of something to actually controlling it and then to getting real results.
So there's actually a name for this in psychology. It's called the Hawthorne effect. And what it means is that people tend to improve their behavior simply because they know it's being watched or measured. So when you start tracking a habit, you become more aware. That awareness gives you more control. And that control, well, that leads to better results.
Okay, so once you're aware of what you're doing, the very next step is to start improving the quality of your actions. And this brings us straight to habit number 5, practicing delayed gratification. It's basically the art of choosing the long-term payoff over that quick, immediate reward.
And this idea is backed by some serious science, most famously the Stanford marshmallow experiment. Basically, researcher Walter Mischel found that the kids who could resist eating one marshmallow right away for the promise of getting 2 later, well, they went on to have much better outcomes in all areas of their life.
I mean, this is the fundamental choice we all face every single day, right? Do you grab your phone for that instant hit of dopamine, or do you put in a little work on that long-term project? Every single time you choose the long-term benefit, you're strengthening your patience and self-control, almost like a muscle.
And our 6th and final habit? It brings us right back to that willpower battery we talked about. The idea is simple. Making too many decisions causes mental fatigue. Think about it. The more small, trivial choices you have to make, like what to wear or what to eat for breakfast, the faster you drain your battery for the big decisions that actually matter. So the habit here is to simplify and automate as many of those small choices as you can.
Okay, so let's tie this all together. What's the big takeaway here? If there is one single message to remember, it is this. Real, lasting change isn't loud. It's a quiet game, and it's won through relentless consistency, not those rare bursts of intense effort.
And this really gets to the heart of it. Waking up at the same time every day, reading 10 pages, that stuff isn't going to get you a million likes on social media. It's not flashy. It's not sexy. But what the psychology shows loud and clear is that these are the habits that actually work. They're what reshape your brain, build real self-control, and completely transform your life from the inside out.
So I'm going to leave you with a question to think about. Forget about the huge dramatic gestures for a second. What is one simple, small, maybe even boring habit that you can actually commit to starting tomorrow? Because trust me, that's where the real magic, the real transformation actually begins.